David Spada is a successful attorney whose dream was to become a sports talk show host. Elliott Harris is a Chicago sports columnist who wanted to expand his media presence. In the next hour, they combine their talents and love of sports and women by interviewing former professional athletes and lovely ladies on sports and torts. But keeping the boys out of trouble isn't always easy, because when David and Elliott are together, they have more fun than should be legal.
Elliott, you brought in Hollywood royalty today.
Indeed we did.
How did you manage this, to get a Hollywood star in studio here in Morton Grove?
Every once in a while we get lucky. I wanted to find somebody who would play around, so I thought golf, because that's your game. And when I think golf, I think Caddyshack, and I think Lacey Underall.
All right.
Who in real life is Cindy Morgan.
Hi, guys. Before you get too far on this ride, because I'm going to stop you before we get arrested.
I want to hear the radio voice.
My radio voice. When I was at the Loop, before it was the Loop, it was a lot deeper. And it was WSDM smack dab in the middle. Morning Drive, Hancock Center. I miss it. I miss Chicago radio.
They don't pay anything for radio personalities anymore.
I was
here.
making $135 a week pulling numbers against the big boys doing Morning Drive and wanted to do commercials. And they said, no, you're the radio person. I said, the heck with you guys. I'm going to L.A. They said, you'd never get a job. I said, I'll get a billboard on Sunset in a year. I had one in 8 months. I got lucky.
And what were you making out there back there in L.A.?
Well, I got an Irish Spring commercial as soon as I got out of my car, and that paid my bills.
Oh, it wasn't a billboard that said for a good time call?
No, Elliott, It was
You could have made a lot more money that way.
You see a lot of those
could have made a lot more money that way.
You see a lot of those billboards by the airport there in L.A.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Well, actually, you do, but I don't pay as much attention as apparently you boys do. So you enlighten me.
When I was out there last year with the kids, I'm like, kids are going, what's that billboard? I said, don't look.
Yeah, and see, I'm just looking for the exit sign and the direction I'm going. And I'm sorry, I've missed so much. Why don't you enlighten me some more?
Okay.
Or not.
Or not. So you're back in Chicago?
Yes, I am. It's so great to be back in Chicago. I am here. I went to school here, born and raised in Chicago, and my high school, which was Mother Guerin, when I went there. Now Guerin Prep is having their annual alumni golf tournament. So they called me. I'm on board. It's Friday, August 12th at Maple Meadows Golf Course in Wooddale. I am coming along, and they are almost sold out, and they've got sponsors. They're doing great, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Will you be golfing?
Nobody brings me in for my golf game, Elliott. I can golf. I actually have a golf trophy from Fuzzy Zeller's tournament. But it's mostly in truth, when I do a golf tournament, I ride around on a golf cart, meet all the foursomes, say hi, we take photos, and everybody just has a great day.
And are you dressed in the attire that you wore in Caddyshack?
Similar attire. Very similar. Yeah, so that's what we're doing this Friday. If anybody is interested, there's still a couple of foursomes. Contact Tina Lilly at 708-437-4730. And if you can't remember that, I'll give you guys one of this, and maybe you can put it up on your website or
put
something.
Put it on Facebook, Twitter, Skype it, do the whole
Let's
thing.
get it the heck out there. Yes. And some folks weren't able to make it to that, and I found out that there's Wizard World is going to be here this weekend.
Comic-Con
at the, where's that going to be, David?
The Donald E. Stevens Convention Center. Some people think it's named after Adlai Stevenson, but
they're wrong.
Stevens, the former mayor.
The Donald Stevens Convention Center in Rosemont. I'll be there Saturday and Sunday from 10 till 6 Saturday, 10 to 5 Sunday, so come on out there too. So, yeah, it's good to be home in Sweet Home Chicago. It's great.
Busy girl.
I got a lot to do, Elliott.
Right. Also, budding author?
I've always wanted to write since I was 5 years old. Never had a chance until now. I know this book has been in the works a little longer than it should. Now it's turned into 3 because I got a hold of 1,700 behind-the-scenes images. Now everybody asks the same questions. What was this really like? What was it? Well, let's go to photos, shall we?
Yes.
And right next to it is my first-hand commentary of what it was like. So the first inception of From Catholic School to Caddyshack is a coffee table book, and I'm delivering it fully graphic designed, laid out, ready to go. We're 95% finished. Last week I was just meeting, I had to find somebody who was actually there. And to find somebody who was there who is alive and not criminally insane is a challenge.
And would speak to you.
And would speak to me. I did, and we sat down, and he was great. He filled in all the blanks and said, well, what about this? And, well, where was that? And it was perfect, just what I needed to wrap this up. So I'd say we'll be done. My homework will be turned in by the end of August.
If you took that much time to do a report at Guerin, what would have happened?
I'd be someplace else. But no, you know what? It had to be done right. And we're talking about something 30 years ago. That's the first one. It'll be a coffee table book, photos, first-hand account. I've got photos of the 3-story fireball. Why am I looking through this microphone when I look at you, David? It's we're ducking over here. I've got photos like the 3-story fireball when they blew up the golf course. And they mined the golf course with gasoline.
Did Bill Murray do that, or you had experts do that?
Billy was busy doing other things, and I wouldn't say experts either. I'm just saying I've got photos of the gasoline truck coming up, them pumping gasoline into the mound, blowing it up, and then the next day they painted it green and blew it up again. Yes, they did.
Wow.
Was that Hugo Chavez bringing his gas in?
Sitco?
No, that was the boys on our crew having fun. And the second day, by the way, when I've got a great shot. They're blowing up the golf course. There's the column of smoke. All the actors running toward camera trying to get FaceTime, and me standing there going, "What the hell just happened?" There's one actor going, "They just blew up the damn golf course." And the next day when I heard they were doing it again, I was so far away from that blast. They said, "You're in the shot." I said, "Sure, I'll be there." And I was gone, and I could still hear and feel the blast. It was crazy.
They didn't warn the airport, did they?
Well, actually, I say that in the book. I started out saying something like 30 years ago, comedy lightning struck with such impact that it was reported to the Fort Lauderdale airport as an air disaster. I don't know who reported it or how it was reported, but it is understood that people were saying that there was some air disaster, and that's what that huge explosion was. No, it was us.
So that's book one. So this is a trilogy like Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, exactly like Lord of the Rings.
Harry Potter?
Exactly like Harry. This will be the coffee table book because most folks don't think I can spell cat. Let them get a little taste of my writing. The second book will be a text-driven book, which will be a little more in-depth, a little more from Catholic school to Caddyshack. This is primarily Caddyshack. That's the star of this show, really. Okay. People love that movie. It's so well loved. We really thought we were just in all kinds of trouble because we were badly behaved actors. It was Animal House on a golf course. It really was.
And what was the second movie?
Titanic?
The second book is actually going to be the text-driven one. A little more in-depth, a little more stuff.
No, I'm saying the second Caddyshack movie.
Oh,
no, I was in the funny one. Right. So I don't know what the second one was. I heard there was a second one, but it's painful for me to watch. I don't know. Some people love it, so what the heck? So...
Those are the criminally insane.
Well,
I'm guessing, yes.
That's the residue from the people who really love Caddyshack. They'll take anything that's Caddyshack related.
And that's why this book is so cool because, everybody says, what was going on? So I've got photos of the parties. I've got photos of people dancing on tables. I've got photos of people having a really great time. What was really going on? People go, "Oh, the crew must have been laughing." I got photos of the crew falling asleep. They could care less.
So you were the best behaved one there.
Me? No. The best behaved one was, I would say, Henry Wilcoxon, who was, and a lot of folks don't know who that was the bishop. And he was Cecil B. DeMille's son-in-law.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He was in like the Ten Commandments. He was the voice that went, "And Moses went out of Egypt." That was Henry Wilcoxon, and he was a very classically trained actor. And I got great photos of him with us just sitting there smiling, shaking his head, going, "They'll calm down."
I was going to say, he must have said to himself, "What the heck am I doing here?"
Oh, he knew what was going on, and he was waiting for us to ride it out and run out of energy. He did his job. He was great.
But you didn't.
Not really, no.
I saw somewhere that Bill Murray said there's going to be a Caddyshack 3, and he wants the original cast back, you, Chevy Chase. It's already been written.
Yeah, well, Ted and Rodney are going to be hard to get, but I do know the agents with the connections to get them. Yeah.
Are those the ones you told go to hell and they went down there?
Well, they weren't listening to me, but maybe they did. Yeah. But I hear that all the time. That would be lovely, but it would certainly be another movie now. We'll see. I think the rumor mill is rampant. I love to hear these stories. I just smile.
Caddyshack, the next generation, like Star Trek.
No, what Bill Murray said is he went back, became successful, learned how to talk, and bought the golf course, and then he reverts back to his old self with the gopher chasing him around.
Okay.
And he said, I have to have Cindy Morgan, I have to have Chevy Chase, and they're on board.
Where did you hear this?
It was on the internet when I was doing my research last night.
Don't believe what you read on the internet. Half of that stuff's written by my publicist, so don't believe it. Seriously.
So, in real life, you live in Florida.
Yes, I do. South Florida. 30 miles from where we shot the film, oddly enough.
You ever drive past the old
I've been there. I've been down there. In fact, when we did the Biography Channel special, which you see,
Right.
we were down there for part of it, and it kind of has turned into Bushwood a little bit, so there it is. It's still there.
I would have thought the golf course would have changed its name to Bushwood just off the success of Caddyshack.
It changed its name to Grand Oaks. And the reason there were oaks there is because they needed a non-regional looking golf course. And that was believe me, these guys wanted to get as far away from the LA studio system as they could so they could have their movie their way. So that's why they went down to Florida. But they needed a golf course that didn't have lots of palm trees.
Right.
So that's why they shot at what's currently Grand Oaks, because there were oak trees. It could have been the Midwest. It could have been the East. It could have been any number of places. That's how we ended up there.
Yeah, they could have shot it here in Chicago where Bill Murray was a caddy once
That's
upon a time.
where it was supposed to be, because there's like about 17 Murray brothers, as you know.
At least.
And the oldest one, Ed Murray, really, this story was about him. He was a caddy. He did win the caddy scholarship. So this kind of was
Wow.
based on his life. Yeah.
So how many of his family members were in the movie?
Oh my! They were everywhere. There was
Brian Doyle Murray
was one of the writers, and he was Lou Loomis, the head caddy.
Okay.
And then there was John Murray, who was caddy number 4, and also he was also the wrangler. He was sort of the airplane wrangler, because we were right under the flight path of Lauderdale Airport. So he was on the walkie going, "Stop it! Plane coming in! Plane coming in!" Those walkies were funny. And that's another story. People were saying, what's Bill really like? Bill was there for 6 days, but you would hear this on the walkie. Where's Bill? I don't know. Get him. He's asleep in a sand trap. What?
They needed a Jewish Murray brother. They could have named him Murray Murray.
What about
Sure.
Sister Murray? Because wasn't his sister a nun?
There is one. And I forgot her name because the boys are louder, and I don't believe I've ever met her. But yes, there is with one of the sisters. Great Irish Catholic family from Chicago. You bet.
Let's get to another show you're on. I watched Falcon Crest as a kid.
You watched Falcon
I watched
Crest.
it with my parents as
Didn't
a
we all?
Not everybody.
You had 2 parts on that show.
Yes, you know something? And that's the funniest stories, because I was on the show for a while. I played Lorenzo Lamas's love interest, and then I was off the show, and I was called in to read for another part. I got it, and I just didn't bother to tell him I'd been on the show before. New set of producers, and I came in as another character, and about 3 or 4 weeks in, one of the crew who had been there said, "You were on the show before." I said, "No, I wasn't." He goes, "Yes, you were. Yes, you were."
Lorenzo didn't realize you were on the.
Oh yeah, Lorenzo knew, but who talks? So yeah, and by that time my character arc had already started, and it was going great. So it was a lot of fun to do. I just didn't open my mouth and just stayed on the show again.
So you got to work with Jane Wyman?
I loved Jane Wyman.
The first Mrs. Ronald Reagan?
She was so wonderful. 2 things to know about Jane. I mean, here's a classic, wonderfully trained actor from the beginning. And on one hand, you'd see her playing poker with the crew, so she was just a great woman. But there was one day, and I guess I can say this now because it's much later. There were a lot of actors on the show. There were a lot of producers, and we would have table reads with the script. And I came in my second show, and my part was really beefed up. So we were doing the table read, and you could tell that a lot of the actors weren't happy at the size that my part had grown. And it was like high school. There was no place for me to sit down for the table read. And I'm like waiting, and Jane Wyman said, "I'll get Cindy a chair."
Wow.
She stood up, made everybody wait. All the actors, all the producers took her time, got me a chair, and said, "Okay." So she just, I really admired her for that. And also there was another scene where I walk in, throw down a newspaper with a headline about something she did about my father, and I slap her. No lines. Obviously I got nowhere near her, but and I said to her, "Miss Wyman, I apologize in advance for what I'm about to do." And she said, "Oh, honey, just do your job."
Wow.
And of course it's a stunt, and I had heard she actually had her neck broken in a stunt like that. So when you do a Hollywood slap or a hit, technically you measure off arm's length, and you allow X couple of inches, and you take your hand and you swipe it across the person's eyes. They do the head jerk. So there was a stunned person standing in for her, but she was wonderful to work with. I wish everybody I worked
If
with
you
the
want to
second.
hit anybody, David's
Dave's fine? Okay.
Elliott, don't you get hit interviewing some of these women sometimes in some of the comments?
not that often, not as much as I used to.
What about Lorenzo Lamas? What was he like?
Lorenzo was great. The first time I worked with him, it was kind of funny. His father was directing that show. And I sometimes get a little, I get a little nervous, so I memorize my lines walking in. I get the ideas down. I know who I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to do, and I get the words down at the last second so I don't choke. So I was in my makeup, just getting ready, and Lorenzo said, "Let's run the lines." I said, "Okay," and I was about to run the lines, and obviously I didn't have them down. So he trotted off. Next thing I know, Fernando comes up and says, "Where's the lines?" Well, I knew what Lorenzo was up to, and I got him down. And then the second time, and then Fernando was great. He was a wonderful director. The next time I came in, Lorenzo and I got along great. He's just a real pro. A second generation Hollywood, and he's doing well. Looks great. Shows up. Knows his lines. You can't beat it.
Yeah, he ends up on all these reality shows, things like that.
Is he doing those now? I hadn't seen.
And you got to work with the Joker.
Which Joker?
I don't so Cesar Romero.
I don't remember actually meeting him. He might have been on a different show, so I'm not sure. But
wasn't he Angela's husband on that show?
He may have been.
Well, might have been after
a different show, but
okay.
Lots of great folks, and I've been lucky enough to work with so many incredibly wonderful people that. Yeah, that's where book 3 is going to come in. I mean, just you plug into a great system, you can't go wrong.
So you make it in Hollywood.
Sort of, yeah.
Kind of. No, but a lot of people make it and then they don't make it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they make it again.
I was really lucky and I had a lot of fun.
And then this Tron thing is a phenomenon again.
The Tron thing is amazing because
you're back from the dead?
Absolutely back from the dead, because what happened was, people make decisions, and for whatever reason, I wasn't in the second Tron, and it was because I wasn't in it. It was better than had I been in it, because there was this amazing fan surge of and I hate to use the word fan because I think that's talking, being condescending. I call them supportive people, family. They were like family. They're like, this is our where the heck is she? Yeah. And they organized. They got websites up, and it's been picked up by the press, and it's gotten back to Disney. And next week I'll be at Disney at D23 at their event, meeting with some of those. So because of the folks that love the movie, the movie belongs to the people who love the movie, I think. And they kept it alive, and because of them, there was a Yori Lives campaign on Facebook, YORI, and because of them, Yori does live. So thank you to those folks for keeping it alive. Check out CindyMorganInfo.com, and you'll be getting all the news. There's all the Facebook links and Twitter.
Twitter and...
I got it all up there, you bet.
You're Miss Social Media.
Me and the team. I've got a wonderful team of folks, all volunteers, and that's why they're so good.
I thought they were serfs, slaves.
No serfs, no mercenaries, all volunteers who have a lot of heart. And because of that, they keep me going.
Well, who was your favorite person to work with in Hollywood?
Oh, man, there's so many.
Put her on the spot, why don't you?
No. I mean, in every film, I'll just tell you, I got some of the best jobs you could want. I mean, in Caddyshack, I get to kiss Chevy Chase. I get to work with Bill Murray. In Tron, I get to kiss both Jeff Bridges and Bruce Boxleitner. This is a great gig, and I get paid, so I'm not complaining.
Who's the best kisser? Rodney.
Rodney was actually so nervous. It was so cute. You know how that film was done. I mean, we would work all day, party all night, roll out of bed or from the last party, go through makeup, hair, and wardrobe, and show up on the set and go, what? Because at that point, the script had been thrown away. And we would break from lunch whenever. And Rodney and I were just sitting alone at lunch, if you can imagine. And there he is tugging on his collar, going, am I okay? Am I okay? It's my first movie. And I said, Rodney, you're stealing it. And he did.
Wow.
I have done improv. In fact, I was lucky enough to take some improv training from Harvey Lembeck before I got to Caddyshack. And I used to get so sick before that class because Harvey yelled. Harvey Lembeck you would have known from Stalag 17 or from some of the beach movies. Little guy, vaudeville-trained comedy actor. And he used to yell at me, and I'm used to being on radio and doing all the talking, as you can tell. And Harvey would yell and go, stop! Morgan, you're the straight. Stop going for the joke. Stop going for the joke. You set up the joke, you let it happen, and you will score. And thank God I did, because when I got to Caddyshack, had I not listened, he taught me to do the one thing nobody could teach me, to listen. And my reactions to Chevy and Rodney and the other guys were some of the best things I did. That piano scene was not only not in the script or rehearsed, it wasn't even discussed ahead of time.
Wow.
Harold said, come over here and sit down. I said, why? He said, just sit down and say, sing me a love song. I said, fine. If that'll shut you up, I'll do it. I said, sing me a love song. And Chevy snorts the salt, throws the tequila, and I look out of the right corner of my eye, and the damn camera light's on. I went, you're filming this thing. And so I went, okay. And I had a big wad of gum in my mouth. I blew a bubble in his face, and that was the button on the scene.
The rest is history.
So I understand.
Well, you've aged a lot more gracefully than Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, things like that.
Oh, they're so talented. Who cares? I mean, I think they're all great. They're still the kids they always were. They're just brilliant. Don't tell them I said that, but they are.
It'll be our secret.
Do you still talk to Bill or Chevy?
I see Bill once in a while. I haven't seen Chevy in a while, but it's astonishing how you run into these folks. And it's like, can I tell you, it's like we just saw each other yesterday, every single time. It's so cool.
It's like your best friend you haven't seen in 20, 30 years.
Exactly.
Like going back to Mother Guerin, you'll see people who you haven't seen and you go.
I was just there yesterday at Mother Guerin. I was at the stage where I froze on the stage and couldn't deliver one line. I was there. No, not even that. Somebody had to lead me off the stage. I was so scared. I was at Mother Guerin Holy Cross yesterday.
Hope you overcome that someday.
Yeah, thank you, Elliott. I'll work on it.
If only you could work on that just a little.
Let's talk about the guy Elliott wants to interview, write a book with from Chicago, Hugh Hefner. What's he like?
I've never met Mr. Hefner.
You've never been at the mansion?
I have not. I've been to the Playboy building, and it's funny. I was doing a show last time I did press in Chicago. They heard the reason you don't see me on the Caddyshack DVD is because I wouldn't shoot the nude scene for Playboy for a couple of reasons. First of all, it wasn't what we discussed ahead of time, and I was the Irish Spring Girl at the time. I felt there was a conflict. The other thing is they sent him down to the set and tried to bully me into it. Oh. And it's not a problem with nudity. It's a problem with bullies. And the more they screamed and swore, the more I said, look, this isn't going to work out. I discussed this. And one of the producers who identified himself on the Biography Channel special, John Peters, called me from the other room and said, you're blanked in this business. You'll never blanking work again. Go out there and do it. I said, no, John, and now we're going to clear the set. So I put on a robe and I said, look, I want to see because I ran camera. I ran sound. I ran camera in Rockford, Illinois. I was my own FCC licensed sound engineer in Chicago. I said, the heck with you guys. The sound guy's going, I have to be here. I said, you go outside and watch your meter. Set a boom mic and get lost. Want to see my license? So I said, I want to see 4 people, the focus puller, the director of photography, that director, that actor. Until then, I got all day. Take your time. I learned a lot of new words, but yeah, that's how So they took away my paid ads. They broke my contract and took away my billing. My agent didn't back me up. And we got this but they did me a big favor. They made me so angry. When you're angry, are you afraid anymore?
No.
No. I took control of that. That was the day Lacey was born. So I should send John a thank you note. Okay.
So the nude scene for Sports and Torts, will do that during break? Is that how this works?
Never gives
up.
Clear
the room.
Never gives up. Never gives up. Thanks. So thank you so much for having me and Elliott. It's so good to see you again.
Always a pleasure.
I can't wait till that book comes out.
Honey, you and everybody else. I just literally had that meeting last week, and as soon as my plane lands for more than 5 days, it'll be done because I can write as fast as I talk. I've got dragon dictation, and we all know how fast that is.
And who's the publisher?
What is it? I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. I am presenting a completely finished project, graphic design and all. It's completely laid out. Of course, whoever I section this book off to, and when it gets marketed, of course, they obviously will have their own opinions for rewrites and what we'll do. And at that, when I find out the publisher, I'll let you know.
So it's basically the book's done. All you got to do is hit the print.
The book will be going to market. I am not. This book is going to market, and and I'll be very happy. I want to work with somebody who's great. My literary agents are in place. From that point, they're the quarterback. So. I can say who my literary agent is. He's identified himself. He's the guy who got 137 hours made. It went from between a rock and a hard place. The mountain climber who cut off his own arm, and he took it from that book from inception to the Oscars. He's my literary agent, who's hopefully listening now, going, "Where's the book?" I'm sure he is because it's way overdue.
You didn't have to cut off any limbs to get this done.
I've cut off more than you know to get this done, but so many things have changed. There were so many things, and every time there was a hold. Something fell into my hand. Literally, I just had to move 4 months ago. I opened a cabinet. I was looking for some photos that had been gone. And I swear to God, out of the cabinet, I keep thinking my dad, who died in 96, is around because into my hand fell a box of slides.
Wow.
And the bullet shells from his 21-gun salute. I swear on my life, this is what I went, You son of a gun. You could have given me these earlier, but there they are. And so some things I was looking for turned up. So it'll be complete. And it's time to turn this in. It's time to move on to the second one. So by the end of August,
good to go.
yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I saw
guys.
you got someone's balls here.
Boys, all I can say is, ladies, let's harness this energy. Okay, yes, these are Roger Dewey from A&R Collectibles, who's sitting in the next room holding him sides with laughter, and Sean, my handler, shut up, Elliott. Okay, these
I
are
wanna know what he
orange
handles.
balls, and David has the Naked Lady tees. This is from A&R Collectibles right here in Chicago. Roger Dewey does that. And
You got the nice hat.
and these wonderful, Roger's made these lovely, let's get it on camera. Here we go, it's on camera. These are, with a hat like that, you get a free bowl of soup.
Ba-dum-bum.
Yeah, and that's also from A&R Collectibles. And great stuff. My partner here in Chicago, got to have friends in Chicago.
Definitely.
Thank you very much for your time, Cindy. I'll let you go to your next meet or
I
gig.
will, and I'll
Or
keep
tea
you guys.
time.
Tea time, my butt.
Keep us abreast.
Oh, Jesus.
Or any other body part.
Look for updates on Cindy Morgan. I'm trying to get a word in.
Oh.
Cindy Morgan CindyMorganInfo.com. We'll
Sounds
keep you
good.
posted.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
guys. Nice
Thank you.
meeting.
You're listening to Sports and Torts. Tune in. Our next guest, I know who it is, but we'll have somebody. Thank you.
Won't be as much fun.
Oh.